Hey, welcome to Inside the Huddle, brought to you by Romo Athletics and powered by the Raw Athletic Booster Club. I'm your host, Tom Brown. Today, we have Bulldog legend, a two-time All-State Bulldog. He's also a head basketball coach and owner of Juan Skills Academy.
That's right. Staying busy.
Hey, Kobe, thanks for being here, man.
I appreciate it. Thanks for having me, Tom.
Well, I tell you, man, it's been a great time because we've known you for a long time. And again, appreciate you being a sponsor of Inside the Huddle and everything you do at Juan Skills Academy. But hey, take us through what have you been doing since 2016 when you graduated,
Man.
and we got your name up there on one of the quarterfinalists there in the 2015 season. So
man, it's been a fun, busy time. As soon as high school ball ended, best time ever with the boys. Went to University of Missouri St. Louis and played a year there, and I loved my time there. And ended up transferring to Westminster College to play with my brother to finish my college career out.
Sarge
with Sarge, the man,
legend.
You don't get any basketball players better than that, and I'll stick with that. I think at one point he's leading the third in the nation in assist to turnover ratio, and you get a lot of credit to people who score, but man, it's the guys that are willing to do the dirty work and guard 1 through 5, and he does it all. So the good old Sarge is at it. As soon as that ends, I get a degree in business administration. COVID happens, and I'm like, well, now what? My oldest brother was teaching at Newburgh at the time, and he goes, "Hey, we need a basketball coach." And Cody Woody's was there at the time, and man, we'll get you on. I was like, I'm not certified to teach. What are you gonna do? They're like, "Oh, it doesn't matter. We're fine. We can work around it." So I go be Woody's assistant for a year, and after that, take over that program for the next 3 years, and then. Last year, I took a job at Sullivan High School, and now they're varsity boys basketball coach.
Well, yeah, we've been able to watch you play a little bit too, and watch you coach. Obviously from back in the day, where I had the pleasure of coaching you from an early age, and then watching you progress and be that head basketball coach.
Yeah.
And I know it was a little bit of a struggle this year at Sullivan. The program was kind of in a state of flux. A lot of young folks on there. A lot of challenges. But being able to watch you coach, that was, I tell you, I really enjoyed it, and you can tell the volleyball squad right now is having some fun. But it was one of those watching you coach in that environment and the way you motivated the kids and taught them and the progression they made from the start of the season to the end of the season. I was just really impressed with how you handled that.
Well, I appreciate that very much. And obviously, it's still a learning process. And every season, every day, there's something new that's thrown at you, and you got to just kind of be willing to adapt and conquer. And but boy, do I love it. I mean, people talk about the salary, and it is worth every second. My goodness, it's the best thing ever.
Look at you, coach. Look at you working the whole time. And I want to say this might have been coming out at halftime where you're trying to get into a specific shot, but you had things you wanted to work on. I was listening to you in the huddle, sitting behind you, and just watching everything there. Your demand how they play defense. I mean, just everything you're doing. You're up there coaching the whole time, and it honestly was. It was just so cool to watch that and seeing you kind of paced up and down the court. It was a lot of fun.
Well, most people don't know about that game too. I mean, it was a 9 a.m. game, St. James tournament. So you're like, oh my goodness, it's a crazy thing. So we were at the gym at 6 o'clock. I had McDonald's breakfast for him, and we got to practice him. There's one thing that I was going to make sure that we were not. It was tired, and we weren't tired. We got some fatigue going late in the game, and we gave up some things that we should have. But overall, it was a game that I was very proud of our effort, our energy levels. We just couldn't execute the ways that we needed to.
And that's part of the process.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Yeah, again, just as a player and as a coach. Speaking of as a player, I mean, I think about those early morning practices we used to have. Oh, look at that!
Wow, look at that.
So, I mean, you still had that killer crossover right there. That was down, I think, in the courts in Springfield.
That's unbelievable.
You're probably second grade, maybe kindergarten.
Look at the kicks, though.
I know they're looking good. And then there's the patent Kobe Wan smile in an open gym we used to have in the summer because we're starting all you boys early. Remember that?
Oh yeah, it doesn't get better than that.
Oh, I thought that was pretty cool. Oh, hey, look, there's more. There's more, Kobe. Oh,
what is this?
Look at this. The old Rolla High School gym playing in one of the tournaments we had, part of the team, the Dogs team. And there's Kobe. Look at that, man, holding the ball right there. We stepped up our uniform quality here this year.
They're glistening.
Man, how about those throwbacks? That's a lot of fun. Oh my God,
Master champs, baby.
So what's been cool about that picture is, we've
It's been
replicated
replicated
that.
so many
Yeah. And
times.
then at the Zach's wedding,
Yep.
you guys kind of done the
Yep.
same thing.
Same. Yeah.
It's just such great memories from this group.
Yeah. I love those guys.
Yeah, and that was your quarterfinal run, you guys' junior year.
Yeah.
Um, oh, and sorry, we'll go back to this one. So again, you're up at
Golly,
Huntsville.
look at how
Yeah,
small.
and again, some of those kids right now are seniors, and then you got some of the juniors in there as well. And always taking time to come back
Yeah.
to the kids. Always appreciated
That's what it's
that.
all about. That's what it's all
And
about.
that was huge. I mean, the kids are just, I mean, you tell the smile on their faces. They're so excited that Kobe Wands is in the house. That was up on Trinity in St. Louis. And then this goes back to high school when we were always trying to build those kind of connections with the kids.
Yeah.
And it's interesting is it was there for this group. Trey's group came in also. And then, Trey's group was there with Ethan's group. And now you've trained a bunch of these
Yeah.
kids too and
Man,
had them in the gym.
it makes me feel old. I'll tell you that. It makes me feel old.
So yeah, I just wanted to kind of share that out there
That's
because I think
awesome.
it's so cool.
That's awesome.
What you've given to this program goes beyond when you played here.
Right.
And
Right.
and I think that's what I can like. So let's talk about Juan Skills Academy.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, just a little bit about it. We started. Shoot, I remember getting approached by some parents when I was like a sophomore in high school. Just got my license. Like, you should do some workouts with my third grader, and I was like, I mean, I don't know. Yeah, all right, sure. So we just kind of rolled with it. And, at the start, it was more of just kind of building those connections with the kids and kind of helping express to them the love that I have for the game and get them excited about it. And of course, they're, watching me Tuesday, Friday nights and watching the other guys Tuesday, Friday nights. And it's an idol at that point.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it just kind of progressed. Then I get into college, and then John Myers kind of hits me up and, hey, can you come help with this team? And I'm like, this is something that I'm really passionate about, and I love doing it. And I love to bring the excitement to the game and have the kids kind of really appreciate what it's all about. Then I get to high school, or I get to coaching high school. And then I'm like, wait, why do we do the drills that we do? And then everything kind of starts to unfold. And like, man, this coach does this and this, he does this. I'm like, why? So then I'm kind of picking it apart and going, well, if I were coaching, even now that I am coaching, what do I want my players to do? And now I'm trying to break it down in that sense. And then it's really, really started to kick off. And I mean, I think, shoot, last summer we had up to 75 kids that were consistently working out. And man, when I tell you that I'm so passionate about just the learning aspect of the game and teaching, obviously the kids teach me of when they get tired and how do I battle that brain fog and those kinds of things. And now, fortunately enough, we're getting a complex built, and we're going to try to turn this thing into not just basketball, but all sports and surrounding the Raleigh area, and just try to give back to what I'm so passionate about, what other people and their perspective sports are. And man, I'm excited about it.
Oh yeah, we are too. So is the community, and again, it's something I don't think necessarily been talked about unless you're kind of in that circle.
Yeah.
But it's definitely something that everyone's excited about. Right, so a lot of people kind of reaching out.
Yeah.
Hey, what's going on with Kobe? How
Yeah.
are we going to do this?
Yeah.
What's going on? And yeah, it's a again, I've seen it firsthand. I've watched what you've done with Ethan, and the amount of work you put in with Ethan. He comes out just completely soaked with a giant smile on his face,
right?
And it's been since he's been. I mean, you've been doing it since he's been little with him, and having him always kind of play up and do stuff, and just I can tell the difference, and I know what it means to Ethan to have you work out with him, and I know it for the community as well, the people that have been doing it both. And again, we've kids out here today on the boys and girls side that you've worked out with.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's a blessing. And being on the coaching side, you're always kind of thinking, well, just get better in the off season, work in the off season. Where the Juan Skills Academy comes in, it's well, now what? What does that mean? How do we break that down? And luckily Coach Miller and I have been in constant communication about players that he sends me or that I get, and what does he need from them, right? Especially at the high school level, we're working on where can we put you into the offense? What are you going to be doing? And then how do I sharpen the tools that you have in order to capitalize on what you're going to be doing in this season? If you can be the best pickup basketball player in the world, but if it doesn't translate in the game, what does it really matter? That's kind of what we really, really focus on. And it's why it's so important for me to be in contact with other coaches on their players and how can we make them thrive in the system that their coach wants for them.
Yeah, that's perfect. I mean, and that's one of the things I like is the game film. You've been to the game. You come here and watch a game with Ethan, and then you're afterwards. Ethan's not, he talks a little bit to the family, then he's going to find you and talking about what happened and what could he do differently and what could he learn from that, and then having kind of a strategy. And we've talked about that in the off season. What is he looking for at the next level and how to get there. So yeah, it's got to be. It's when you're actually then the head coach and you can build all that stuff in there.
Man, it changes the game entirely. But sometimes I got to take a step back and go, well, hold on, it's team culture right now, and yes, off season we're doing individual skill work. When I got all my guys, it's going to be more of how do we get that continuity, that flow of building a team and building a program the way we want it to. Um, but yeah, it's a blessing to have that background and all that skill stuff. So that way, off season stuff. I mean, we are getting after it.
Oh, I'm sure you are. I can only imagine just how you guys would put those effort in again from the early days up through it. But now that you've been at the collegiate level, playing those games and seeing what it takes,
Yeah,
and then being able to kind of put it all together with the next generation kind of coming up.
absolutely.
So, so you have the One Skills Academy. You also, like I said, we're talking about having a building a
Yeah,
facility, and so
yeah,
you can do more than
right,
just the basketball
right.
training, but just development in general. And then you and I have been in conversations, and I kind of threw out a little thing the other day. So we're going to be joining some forces to look at a thing called Next Level Impact.
Yes,
And with that, since I spend a lot of time on the leadership development side, one of the things we talked about is you have all these kids who either have somebody in their ear telling them how
oh
great they
yeah,
are,
oh yeah,
all these things that can happen. But when reality comes down to it, they think they're a shooter
right,
because they may be the best shooter on their team.
correct.
That doesn't mean they're going to be the best shooter in the conference, the state, or at college, right? And
That's so
so,
true.
so sometimes it's kind of tough to have those kind of reality checks. But that's one of the things we're looking at,
Yeah,
right? Is how do we put a plan together? Because we say you can have a dream, but that's not goals. And
right.
you can have hope, but that's not a plan.
Yeah,
So we're going to look at it and put the kind of have a tough assessment, set some goals, have a plan together, and then tie it in with where their strengths are,
right.
right? And then looking at how that fits up with where their goal is to get to a certain college level. We have those statistics. We can take a
Yeah,
look, match them up, then look at their strengths,
yeah.
and then that's where you take over. And man,
It'll be an exciting thing, and like you kind of talk about with just all the data analytics that you can get with it. It's transparent with the kids, and it makes them a little bit more self-reflective on who they are as a player.
yeah,
You talk about it. You have so many outside sources. You got parents. You got teammates. You got classmates. You have assistant coaches. You have everything in the world. Well, if your head coach isn't bought into what you think that is a strength or a weakness for them,
mm-hmm,
it's not.
yeah,
And so when we can break all those points down and kind of gauge it a little bit better and be honest and transparent with them, we're not dogging. We're not trying to bash. We just want to be honest.
yeah.
We want to make them a better player. And at the end of the day, if we feed them lies, it doesn't. Um, Doing that, I think this is a beautiful opportunity, and I really think it's going to catch on. And I think it is so beneficial for not only players but for parents
Yeah.
to kind of grasp that concept and understand that what we're actually trying to do to help the kids.
And I think you got it. It's the parents need to have this as well,
It's a huge
and
thing in
and it's
today's
hard,
world.
yeah,
Yeah,
because we see our kids a certain way,
yeah,
we view them a certain
yeah,
way, and you want them to be something, right? And
right.
so I've been writing all my blogs talking about hey, it's not about what you want for your
Yeah,
kid, it's about what your kid can achieve, and it has to
yes,
be their dream and not your dream. And we're dealing with that with some of our programs right now,
yeah,
and at the AAU level, and you're listening to parents are expecting their kid to be here, they want them to be this role, but that's not what their
no,
skills are
no,
set to match up with that role. They want it,
yeah.
but wanting it and willing to do something about it are two different things, and it's tough.
It's a tough thing, and obviously every parent wants what's best for their kid, and you get that. But like you talk about, we have to be brutally honest and transparent, and give them the real facts of
Mhm,
what's going on.
mhm.
Otherwise, you're just going to end up hindering them
Yeah,
and kind of holding them back from flourishing to what they could be.
yeah, because then it turns into what they're not able to do
Right,
versus what they can do, and
right.
how do we build that strength?
Yeah,
And when you have that data and you can lay them down from an offensive,
yeah,
defensive perspective, the distribution, what role they play,
yeah, yeah,
help them find the role that fits their current skill
yeah.
sets, and then adjust. Like you were saying, is how do we build on those
Right,
strengths and
right.
minimize those
Yeah,
weaknesses to get them to that next
yeah.
level? And then you got specific drills you put in place
Yeah,
for them. Yeah.
exactly. I mean, I wish more people would understand that you can't have every player on your team as Steph Curry. It doesn't happen, and those are roles that people come into, and it's okay if you're not in that
Mhm.
role where you're scoring the most amount of points. You are still going to be pivotal to the team, but you have to be able to contribute in
Yeah.
the fashion that belongs to you.
Yeah.
Um, and now I'm not saying you can't transition roles and become better.
Yeah.
Obviously, we can do all those things, but at the time, you got to focus on what you're doing, what you can contribute, and then do that well, and not try to do everything all at
Right,
once.
right. And I think that, yeah, star in the role,
Yeah,
and your role can change.
yeah,
And when you can, and your role may be the star of that game,
right.
or depend on how, everything plays out, how
Yeah,
defenses get played, and how do you adapt.
that's exactly right.
Yeah, so I'm just going to say, so we'll have more about that. I think what May 31st,
May 30
May 31st.
May
Yeah.
31st is a yeah,
Yeah, I'm going to have one in Sullivan. We'll put more information out there.
yeah,
So for all of you basketball players that want to pursue, beyond high school, but maybe in some cases just you want to improve your game in
Yeah.
high school because you want to be the best player on your team or the best player in the conference or the
Right.
best player in the state. You have your own goals, and we can kind of help you get there.
Absolutely. I think it'll be a great thing. It'll be a blessing, and I really look forward to it.
Yeah, I'll. So if anyone will, we can put a link out there. But this is the barcode. You guys can
Perfect.
go back, pause that, scan that, and you can find out more information there about registering for that. And then again, Kobe's on here because he's part of the sponsor of Inside the Huddle. So here's the Juan Skills Academy. You want to get in touch with him and set up,
Yep.
just kind of the regular training sessions and stuff like that. He has that for you. And again, a lot of, I don't know what ages you're all going with. You have
Yeah.
a limit on ages? Or?
We're starting with third grade now and up, and I'll try to get a couple people that'll help me do some of the workouts, just because to deal with some quantity and those kinds of things. And like I said, with the facility, once we build that facility, we'll no longer have gym availability issues, and we'll be flowing once that happens. And man, I cannot wait.
That's gonna be a lot of fun. Looking forward to all of that as well. That's a lot of good things coming. So before we kind of wrap up here, I do got to ask. So your dad was a pretty good player as well,
That's right.
and I'm old enough to remember your grandpa knocking down shots in church
In
league.
church league.
And I'll be honest, he seemed kind of older back then,
Yeah.
but he could still get that little one-handed push shot that you saw in that generation.
Yeah.
So in their prime, who was the best shooter
Oh.
between Dale, Steve, your dad,
Yeah.
Sarge, and you?
I'm going grandpa.
Really?
I'm going grandpa only because I've never seen any film, and I'm just gonna take the one newspaper article that I saw and say, "Grandpa's guy, he sealed the deal." I think it was something like Juan scores 82 or something. I think it was dad and grandpa
Yeah,
combined.
yeah.
I'm sure dad had the majority, but for the sake of this, grandpa had all 82.
Nice,
So
nice. I love that. That'll be a great one. They had to get that one blown up and everything.
yeah,
And
yeah,
and your dad had a killer left hand too,
yeah.
because he had
He's broken his right
broke the
arm or
right
right
arm. Yeah.
wrist or whatever it was, and yeah. So I remember being young and him being like, "You got to shoot." I'm like, "What? No, no, why?" But no, Dad, he's the man. Yeah, he's got a passion for the game and shoot. After every game, him and Sarge both call and picking their brains, and they're like, "Why'd you do this? What happened here?" And it's man, I love it.
Yeah.
I freaking love it.
I can imagine. I remember when you guys would get done playing, we'd be driving home from St. Louis and playing you guys up and all the stuff
Yeah.
crazy stuff we used to do. And
Oh yeah.
your dad and I would be in cars talking the whole way back about what we could do different, what we could do at practice, and
Yeah.
and it was just such a passion because you kids made it so fun.
But that's why, I mean, in hindsight now, it's like, well, you guys instilled that into our whole entire group. You talk to any one of the guys that was on that dogs team. Everybody has the same passion and desire for the game, and it's because you guys, instilled that in us. And man, we thank you guys so much.
Oh,
You
it was a
guys,
good time.
Craig, Scott, everybody, and man, it was a good time.
It
Fun
was. There's
stuff.
so
Fun
many
stuff.
great memories. And now you're making memories for everyone else.
Yeah, that's what it's all about. I mean, it's a cycle of life, and how do you give back to the youth and once again, give them the passion that you once had for that game and still have, just in a different sense.
Yeah, man. That's how you leave that legacy. So again, if you have young kids at home need basketball training, get a hold of Kobe at Juan Skills Academy. You can scan that QR code right there. Reach out to him, and he can get you hooked up, get some of that
Yeah.
training in for the young ones. And if you have high school age boys or girls that are looking to try and get to the next level, or again get to some significant improvement, reach out to us. May 31st will be the first session. It'll
Yep.
be over at Sullivan High School
Yep.
in Sullivan.
It'll be awesome. It'll be
All
good.
right. So, Kobe, hey, thanks a lot for joining us. Thanks for sponsoring Inside the Huddle. And thanks for everything you've done for
Yeah.
Rolla Bulldogs sports in the past and what you continue to do through your training.
It's been a blessing, and I'm thrilled to be able to do it. Thrilled to be able to do it. Thanks, Tom.
Buddy, thanks, Kobe. Appreciate it. So I'm Tom Brown. This is Kobe Wong from Inside the Huddle, the heart of the game. We'll see you next time.